Have you ever been in a situation where it just feels like the whole world declares war on you and it feels impossible to get out of? Or have you ever wondered how you could use diplomacy to benefit you in your own games? Look no further. I'm Total War Gaming, and today we will be going over the diplomacy, and we will be giving you some very good tips to make sure you will become the next diplomatic master in your own games. We first start with the basics of diplomacy. We will teach you and show you what you can do and what you can achieve with it, and after that we will be giving you some tips. And these tips are very useful. I use them in my own games, and I hope I can surprise you with some, and hopefully you will become the next diplomatic master with them. I will be using chapters, so if you rewatch this video you can quickly go to the tips if you want to watch them again, or if you simply just want to go straight to the tips, that's also possible. So make sure to do it, and make sure to like and subscribe, but also comment on what tips you find most useful. So let's go first to the diplomacy and how it works. At the top of the screen you have all of these buttons, and you also have one for diplomacy conveniently, so if you click it you will now go to the diplomacy screen. In the screen you can see all of the factions you have met. Now I should note I am a little bit further in the campaign, so I have met a lot of factions, so it's quite an extensive list. And yeah, especially in the beginning you will have a much smaller list, but over here there are all of the factions and they are categorized by their cultures. Now in the right you can see the attitude. So you have an attitude towards each factions, and this basically tells you how much they like or how much they hate you. And if you hover over it like I'm doing now, you can see the exact values of this. You can also get an immediately indication by just looking at the color. You can see this is it will range from red to green, with red being very hostile and green being very friendly. You could also not only click on the faction over here, but also on the map, and then you will go to the faction. And what you can do right with them is you can negotiate with them. So if you just go simply to the negotiation button, you can see over here, and you can see all the treaties. Now I should say I already have a military alliance with them. So the defensive alliance and the non-aggression pacts, which are usually over here, we cannot click them anymore because we already have the military alliance. But we still can have military access, and we can vassalize. I should also note, for vassalization you need to be a pretender to the crown, or you need to be a great king or pharaoh, or whatever court you are in. This is something for another guide, but it's good to know. So if you don't see this option over here, it's probably because you are not a pretender or a great king or anything like that. Now next to the treaties we can also do some barter agreements, which are basically trade deals. So first, barter agreement is a trade deal which goes over turns, so it ranges from 5 to 10 turns. But you can also do a single barter which immediately exchanges the resources. And next to that you can also trade regions. It should be said that the region can only be traded if you are neighbors to them. So yeah, keep that in mind. Now all of these treaties you can also offer to break them with other factions. This is something which I don't usually do, but you can use it to your benefit. And then you can also ask them to join a war or declare war on them themselves. Now if you go to a treaty you can see the buttons over here, or the numbers over here. And if you click on it you can see actually minus 5.9, and this is how much they are willing to pay for it, or they are willing to agree to it. Now if it is negative you need to give some stuff, so you can just quickly do the make it work, and then if you give this it will go to 0, and if it is 0 or higher they will accept the deal. So this is something you can keep in mind. You can see here forced inheritance, and I will go over what it is in a bit, but first of all let's just do it. You can see over here minus 14. So what you can now do is balance the deal, and they will actually give you stuff because they tend to rate this higher than 0 basically. So it's a little bit of an optimization game. It's not really something you need to do, but it's always good to have this at 0. Now, like I said, we haven't gone over the right to deals. And these deals are the marriage, so you can either request or offer marriage, and this will give you or you give away a character. So you can marry all of your generals and all of your daughters and wives and stuff, and you can so they don't have any wife, but we can marry one of our daughters to one of their general. And if we do this, well, we did offer diplomatic marriage, so in this case our general will go to their faction. If we do the opposite and we do request diplomatic marriage, then their general will go to us. And you see they like it much less, because of course they will lose a character. But that's something to keep in mind. So and then you also have forced inheritance, and this is a sort of special mechanic which is not in many games, but this will, you can see it right there, offer a character to leave your faction to become a scion of the other. So basically you are giving them a general, and this general will become the heir of their faction, or scion to be more precise, and once the leader of them dies, this general will actually take over the faction. Now this faction will not become your faction after this happens. They still remain their own faction, but you have your own relative being the faction leader, so you get a huge diplomatic boost. So if you want to further enhance relationships, this is a really good way to do it, because, well, first of all, you are getting a treaty with them, but second of all, once this character dies, you will get a huge diplomatic boost simply because your own relative or your own general is their faction leader. So that's something really nice. So these are all the things you can do with the diplomacy stuff, and you can do it by clicking on the faction and go to negotiate, but there's also a really convenient screen over here, and that's the bottom, and you can just simply click on the non-aggression pact, and it just will rate all of the factions that are willing to agree to this non-aggression pact, and this works for every treaty. So this is really, if you just want to do some quick lookup whether certain factions want to agree to a non-aggression pact or anything, you can just click this button, and then to also show you the opposite, but if you click on here, you can see, oh, these factions are willing to get a non-aggression pact with me. So that's really useful, and the same for peace, and so on. Now there is one mechanic which I haven't showed you, and that is the adopt into dynasty. So certain faction can adopt into dynasty. So what this means is, if you are the great king of Haiti, for example, which I am right now, you can see it over here, I can actually adopt them into my dynasty, and then they have a sort of, they become a part of my dynasty. So let's just do it. So let's make it work. And right now it's a bit laggy due to the fact I am having a lot of factions. But if we actually go to our dynasty right now, we can see, this is the ruling family, but the dynasty tree, and you can see them over here. So the dynasty tree is basically the tree or the family tree of your dynasty, which is your family, whereas the ruling family of the great kings. So that's something I'm not going to go into it much further. It's something I will probably make a video about, but that's something you can also do in diplomacy. Now, since I am the great king, they will actually be adopted into my dynasty, but it can also work the other way around. So if you are not a great king but want to be adopted into the dynasty, you can do it via diplomacy. So that's about all of the stuff you need to know about diplomacy, and let's go over some great tips you can use to become the next diplomatic master. Tip 1. Send your characters away to become the scion of other factions. So like I told you, you can send characters away via the forced inheritance mechanic in the diplomacy screen, and they will actually go to another faction to become their scion. Now, you can see over here I have a lot of generals to my disposal, but if you do not have any generals, there's an easy way to get this done, and I will show you just how. So of course this deal is very profitable to us, so we can get a lot out of it. So this is really something we want to do, especially if you want to be long-term partners with them. And what you actually can do is go over here and we can recruit just another general. So this will only cost us 300 food. And let's go and recruit him. And let's just see the name of him. So Bedesaurus or something like that. Sorry for my pronunciation, it's probably very wrong. But you can see the name over here, and now we can actually trade him off to another faction. So keep in mind, we paid 300 food. But right now, I can go to them, I can click him, Bedesaurus. Yeah, so he's our general. And yeah, we just recruited him, and we can actually get a lot out of it. So for example, you can just get this, and you can see this is much more worth than the 300 it cost us. And not only that, it will make sure the relationship with this faction is really nice and really good, and will maintain at a really high rank. So that's the first tip. And it's something to keep neighboring factions happy by just recruiting your own general, and then simply using this general to become the scion of another faction. So especially if you don't have a lot of characters, you can just simply do this. Or if you want to keep your characters to your own faction, this is a great way to make use of this mechanic and not waste your special characters or your ranked up generals to become part of someone else's faction. Tip 2. Always check your strength ranking after a hard fight. So in the diplomacy screen you can see right now we are strength ranking 46, and we will just go into a fight, but it's really good to know that your strength ranking, the AI uses your strength ranking to determine whether they should go to war with you, and if it is very low, then they are much more likely to. So they don't know that you just fought a battle and that you will replenish very fast, and that you will be back at your strength rank pretty soon again. So they only see, oh, he has a low strength ranking, so he must be very weak, so let's attack him. And then suddenly you are at war with a few factions, and then other factions think, oh, he is at war with a lot of them and he has low strength ranking, and they also join the fight. So that's a thing which can get really out of control, and you should manage it pretty carefully. So especially when you just fought a battle, make sure to do diplomacy after that. Make sure to lock in some deals, some treaties, so that the AI are much more, they will not go to war with you. So to just show it, you just saw we are strength ranking 46, and let's go to let's go attack.
I will crush you.
And we will just out-resolve it, and you can see we have very high predicted casualties.
A testament to Assyrian supremacy.
So now, even if we go back into our own territory, we will replenish pretty fast, so it's not a big deal. But as you can see in the diplomacy, we are suddenly strength rank 145. So we went down 100 ranks, or about 100 ranks. So now all of our factions neighboring us are thinking, oh, we are very weak. So they will very much likely to go to war with us, especially if they are not at war with anybody. So you really should take that into account when doing diplomacy. If you don't really like it, try to do it after a hard-fought battle like I just did, so that the AI won't go to war with you. Tip 3. Trade deals are better than non-aggression pacts. So if you want to keep your enemies friendly, or make sure they will not declare war on you, make sure to use a barter agreement instead of a non-aggression pact. So what this does is, the non-aggression pacts are somewhat useful to keep them a little bit off your back, but the AI tend to just betray them. So they're not really a good source of keeping them off your back and making sure they're not declaring war on you. But in my experience, the trade agreements and the trade deals are doing a much better job. And it's probably because when you have a trade deal, the enemy also benefit from it. So they will actually, be a little bit worse if they declare war on you, since they do not get their own resources which you are trading with them. So just make sure, if you want a non-aggression pact for the sake of having them not declare war on you, make sure to also get a trade agreement with them. So that way they will remain much more friendly, and you will make sure that they will not declare war on you, or are less likely to. So just keep that in mind. Tip 4: to further increase relationship with the trade agreements, you can actually do multiple barter agreements. So instead of using one very large barter agreement, what we can do is we can, for example, trade 1 stone for a lot of food, and we can just keep on doing this. So like this, and it is a little bit of tedious work, but what it will do is each trade agreement or each barter agreement has a baseline attitude bonus, which means that since we now have a lot of barter agreements, you can see barters made with Ramesses is now 18. And if we do it one more time to really show it to you, you can see now it's 21. So each barter agreement will increase the relationship with 3. And by making sure you're doing it this way, this will get a lot of more relationship status simply due to this baseline, than just have one really large barter agreement with them. So that's something to really keep in mind. So if you really want to make one faction happy and you really want to make allies with them, just make sure to get a lot of barter agreements instead of one or a few very large ones. And this will also work. I also have a sort of exploit with this, and I can show it right now. I also have a short on this, but you can do, for example, 1 stone for, okay, this doesn't work, but okay, you can do, for example, 1 stone for, let's say, 10 food, like we did earlier. And then we can also do 1 food for, let's say, 1 stone, you can see over here. And this way they are actually giving us resources. So this way, and the best part of it is that they actually like us more because we have more barter agreements, but they also are giving us only resources and we're not giving them any return. So it's a win-win situation for us. Tip 5, and probably the most important or most useful tip you will ever see in this game. The vassalization technique is quite difficult. Most factions really do not like to be vassalized, and it's really hard to do it. Although it's really good in this game if you actually have vassals. Now you can see I already have a bunch, and you might be wondering, well, how did I do it? Well, it's due to this very nice tip. And the way to do it is, let's just go to one who really doesn't like us. And we kind of need them to be bordering us. Okay, let's go to them. And we want to vassalize them. So you can see the vassalization is minus 45, and it's really hard to do anything. We can also not balance the deal. So yeah, if you see this, you might think, well, how on earth are we going to actually vassalize them? Well, it's simply by trading regions. So this mechanic is really overpowered, I would say. So the AI really values regions really high. So what you can do is actually get a region yourself, which you do not really want to maintain in the long term, and then simply trade it away to vassalization. Because if we trade the region to them, you can see it certainly jumps up to 170 almost. So that's really high, and now not only do we get them to be our vassals, we also get a lot of resources from them. Now you can also imagine in doing this in a war. So for certain, we can also do it when we are at war with someone. So for example, we are at war with Amar, and let's say we just conquered a region from them, but we do not want to extend this war. We can go over to the negotiation screen, actually have a peace treaty, but also if this is negative, we can still do it. Then click on vassalization, and then we can simply trade a region to them. And you can see suddenly it's becoming green, and they are willing to accept it. Now you can even get some resources in return, but this way you can just start a war with someone and actually vassalize them via this way. And this will let you get a lot of vassals in a very little amount of time, and that's just really really nice. Now let's actually do it. And you can also get some new gods, as you can see. This was the Diplomacy 101 for Total War Pharaoh. I really hope you liked the guide, and I hope you can get great use out of it. Let me know which tip you find most useful, or let me know which tip you haven't heard before, or was a surprise to you. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.